All right, what's up, guys and girls? How's it going? I'm Is There No One Else, providing a quick video. Wanted to discuss a little bit more about Nightblade because I've been getting a lot of questions, and it seems like anytime they nerf or buff a class, you get a bunch of people that are either really for or against those buffs or nerfs, and this is no different. Obviously, Nightblade's gone relatively, it's been very strong for a long time, and people don't like all the changes that were adjusted, myself included. I don't like all of them, but I'm not against most of them. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about Nightblade in general. We're just going to have a little rant off. We're going to talk about Nightblade, and then we're going to talk about what they said they were going to adjust, which is Cyrodiil performance. So with that being said, guys, let's dive into it. As I said, I've been getting a few comments on my YouTube channel and then on Xbox, where for whatever reason people think that I have something against Nightblades. They think that, because I like the changes, I'm a Nightblade hater. And I just find it amusing because, yeah, I do play every class. But the classes that I play the most, guys, or the two characters that I play the most are my Stamina Nightblade and my Magicka Nightblade. My Stamina Nightblade's a 3-star. It's going on 4 stars. I play my Stamina Nightblade a lot. So when I comment on stuff, when I comment on these balance changes, guys, and not everybody knows this, and that's fine. That's why I wanted to post this video. When I comment about balance changes, I'm not talking about the balance changes from the perspective of a Magicka Sork fighting a Stamina Nightblade or a Magplar fighting a Stamina Nightblade or any sort of thing like that. I'm not coming from a one-sided perspective. I'm coming at it from fighting a specific class with other classes, and then hopping on that class myself and playing it and seeing what I think about it. And now, obviously, we all have inherited bias. We all have bias because, I don't play other classes as well as I play my Stamina Nightblade. And so I have some opinions on Stamina Nightblade that are going to be different than other classes. And so my bias is built into how well I play specific classes. We're all that way. And some people, they just want to see the world burn, and that's fine. They're Templars or they're Magicka DKs or they're Nightblades or they're Sorks or whatever, and they want every buff in the game for their class, and they say, fuck other classes, I want to be as powerful as possible. Totally get it. But that's not me. And so when I make these comments, it's coming from my informed opinion. Now, is it completely unbiased? No, of course not. But it's for me playing with the class and against the class. And so when we look at the original 5.0.1 patch notes, let's go through the major changes. They got rid of Berserk. They got rid of the 8% bonus and the recovery that you get on Berserk, on Relentless Focus, which is too bad. That was a pretty big change. They buffed Ambush by giving it minor vulnerability. So you lose 8% on Relentless, you gain 8% on Ambush, which also buffs your group because you give minor vulnerability to the person, which then means everybody else in the group that you're fighting with, if they hit that person, they're now doing 8% more damage. So it's a utility buff that Nightblades have to where now they can provide minor vulnerability to somebody, which is kind of cool. It's kind of a cool little buff. The biggest change that I disagree with is the major fracture change on Surprise Attack. In my opinion, I didn't see a need for that to disappear. I understand that they said it's a redundant toolkit and all those sorts of things, but at the same time, Stamina Wardens have AoE Major Fracture with Subterranean Assault. And now Necromancers have Major Defile with their Blast Bones. And so you have these, hard-hitting DPS abilities that provide buffs. And so I don't understand the need for them to remove Major Fracture from Surprise Attack. I know some people are going to go, oh, well, they did for PvE. Well, no, because every tank is running Puncture or Ransack, and so they're already providing Major Fracture even in a 4-man group. So if you're doing VDSA or you're doing a dungeon or something, it's not like that is the bonus that is impacting, that's making Nightblades better than every other class from a DPS perspective. So I disagree with that change. I honestly think that if they're going to continue to remove it, they've obviously provided a little buff where if you surprise attack from the side or behind, you reduce 2 to 3k resistances, whatever. It's a little bit, but whatever. I think they needed to do more to mark target. I know they made it cost nothing now, which is great. That might be good enough, but I would like to see mark target potentially get the same changes that Wings for the Warden has. To where if it's on a bar, you get Minor Berserk, and if you activate it, you get Expedition. And so I would like to see Mark, if it's on your bar, you get 8% more damage. You get the Minor Berserk bonus. And if you activate it, you get Major Fracture. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think it buffs Mark, which means you then have to take another skill off your bar. I think that is a powerful utility now that Nightblades would have, and they would have to give up something. And so it's a give and take situation. I think that makes a lot of sense from my point of view. But I wanted to talk a little bit about my specific build. On my Nightblade, I go back and forth between Relentless, Focus, and an Execute on my build, because often when I'm pug slaying in open world PvP, I find that having the Execute is better than 8% more damage, because you just want to in-cap somebody and execute them and finish them off. Because, I get chased by 8, 10, 12 people, and I can't line up so many light attacks to proc a bow to burst somebody down. Like, I don't have that kind of magic recovery, so with my specific playstyle, I prefer the Execute. And so for me, losing the 8% meant nothing on my specific build. And losing the 8% overall doesn't mean anything for Nightblades, because I melt 30k, 40k health targets with my build. And so, yeah, the 8% is nice, but at the end of the day, like, it's not a huge deal breaker. When I do run Relentless, I hit somebody with an 18k Spectral Bow a couple days ago. So now, instead of 18k, I'm going to hit like 16.5. Oh, no. I almost fucking one-shot the guy still. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like the 8% change, whatever. But on my build, I run the Execute. So I don't get the 8% anyways. But I gain 8% off of using Ambush for my Gap Closer. And so I gain 8% damage there. And then I get Minor Mangle on my in-cap. This is before these specific changes. And so that's a free 2 to 3k DPS. If they have 20k health, it's 2k. That applies before the in-cap hits. It's free burst. So how Minor Mangle works is before your ultimate goes off, that person then loses that amount of health. And so it's basically free burst on your character. And so, yeah, the surprise attack change kind of sucks. Like, you lose 10% roughly when you don't have Major Fracture. So for my specific build, I'm gaining 8% off vulnerability. That also applies to the group. And then I'm losing 10%, so I'm losing 2% damage. But then I also get Mangle, and then if I surprise attack from the side of somebody, I reduce their armor enough to where basically I offset the amount of damage that I lose anyways. So when I look at it, when I see those changes, it's not a big difference, guys. Like you're still going to be able to shit on people on a Stamina Nightblade. And every Stamina Nightblade that I see on YouTube that is posting videos, they're like, it's not nearly as bad as people think. You'll see, yada, yada, yada. And that's the way it is. It's not as bad as people think. Like, Nightblade has one of the best toolkits in the game for survivability, and they have the best animation canceling toolkit in the game as well. And so you will be able to still burst people. And so when I see the comments about how I'm biased about this, yeah, maybe I am a little biased, but it's not from a perspective of me hating Nightblades. It's from a perspective of me being really good with my Nightblade and knowing the Nightblade class so well and knowing that those changes don't mean anything. And so I wanted to talk about that, but about the Nightblade in general, and then I wanted to use that as a segue into this ultimate. And this ultimate is going to discuss my grand scheme of what I think mechanics should look like in this game. In my opinion, this game is at its best when there's a give and take for play. So you play, and then they can counter you. And then they can counterpunch you, and then you can counter that. I think when you have that sort of counterplay among classes, it's a lot of fun. And so it makes it more interesting. I don't think these incapacitating strike changes have counterplay. For those of you guys that don't know, the new in-cap changes, you can now silence a target for 3 seconds. It doesn't say that there's a cooldown for this. So if you are in a Nightblade duo and you guys stagger your in-caps on a target, you could have up to 6 seconds of silence time on somebody. Now, what does silence do? It negates a class's ability to use a Magicka skill. So when you're looking at this, it only minorly inconveniences most stamina classes. It fucking wrecks Magicka classes. And so, yeah, this in-cap change is a huge buff. It is a huge buff, but it's broken. Like this is a broken mechanic that shouldn't exist in the game, and that's why I had a problem with it. That's why I talked about it, because there's no counterplay to this. Like if you're a Stamina Nightblade, let's go on the best case scenario, okay? And you guys are watching this video and you're a Stamina Nightblade and you disagree with everything I've said so far. Let's say you're a Stamina Nightblade and you're in open world PvP and you fight 2 Stamina Nightblades, okay? You're probably better than both of them. Let's just say you're the fucking best Stamina Nightblade in the world, okay? Because you are. I'm giving you a compliment. You're the best Stamina Nightblade in the world. You're fighting those 2. The first guy in-caps you, and then the other person hits you with a snipe because, you know, they're a shitty Stamina Nightblade. They're not as good as you are. You're now down at low health. You go to cloak and heal up. Well, guess what? You can't fucking cloak. Guess what? You can't use your shadow image either. You can't use your defensive abilities. So now you're out in the open for 3 seconds after taking a shit ton of burst damage. And if the other person incaps you, you're now out for 6 seconds. And so now you have to rely on your healing and dodge rolling instead of being able to use your full toolkit against 2 Nightblades. Now, yes, you can do the same thing to them, but they have double the incaps of you. They can constantly fuck with your ability to maneuver in and around the fight. Now, let's say you're fighting 6 people, and you're fighting Magplars and, you know, the normal group of like 3 slapdick Magplars. One of them's a healer. The other 2 are fucking tanks, and then you got 2 Nightblades running snipe and whatever. They're going to completely negate your ability to fight that group of 5 by you not being able to use cloak. And I don't like that. You know, like even in the best case scenario where people are like, oh, this is awesome, I'm going to be able to shit on people. Well, yeah, but you got to fight against it too. And so I think a lot of people are short-sighted when they see this, because even for a Stamina Nightblade, this is still bullshit. For Magicka, it's ridiculous. Like, you're not going to be able to put on a ward, or you're not going to be able to heal for 3 seconds. If you're fighting 2 people, you're not going to be able to heal for 6 seconds. And there's no counterplay to it. So all you can do is just be stuck there until the cooldown wears off. You can't purify it, you know, because purify costs fucking magic. You know, maybe Necros can, because Necros purify costs health. And so it costs health instead of Magicka. So maybe Necros can now purify it, but nobody else can. So when I look at this change, obviously it's a huge buff, but it's so fucking one-sided against Magicka that I would rather have something that buffs that, you know, if they don't like Minor Mangle and they want it to go in a different direction and they want to improve it, that's fine. I can understand that. But let's go away from a mechanic that isn't busted. And so I would like to see this scrapped completely. Like, I would completely like to see silence removed. I would like to see, you know, hypothetically, I don't even know exactly what I would like to see, I guess, because it already has the 20 to 25% more damage. I was going to say, like, it would actually be kind of cool to have over 120 ultimate, you get Minor Berserk. But maybe that's too much, because now you're doing 30% more damage with incap. Like, that's probably pretty busted. But I feel like there's a way that's somewhere in between Minor Mangle and a stun and silencing somebody with no cooldown, allowing other Nightblades to continually silence the same person. Like, I think there's something in between there. And I would like to just see this scrapped and reworked. And so that's my opinion on Nightblade. Like, obviously it's a huge buff. A lot of people, like, were wondering why I wasn't saying this is a buff, because it is. But it's a really bad mechanic. And because there's no counterplay. And so that's my opinion on it. And that's why I would like to see it changed. So, I'm going to stop talking about Nightblade. And this is all specifically related to Stamina Nightblade. Magicka Nightblade is still fucked. They haven't done a whole lot for Magicka Nightblade. I already talked about, ranted about movement speed yesterday. I don't need to rant about it again. Like, go watch one of 10,000 of Finger Rush's videos. Like, watch mine yesterday. Not being able to move fucking sucks. It still fucking sucks. They're not doing anything about it. There's nothing to really bitch about. But the last thing I want to discuss in this video, for the 3 of you that are still here, is Cyrodiil performance. And now, they came out and they said, you know, we're making all these changes. And honestly, guys, like, I know I'm a little, like, I'm trying to clarify a point, but at the same time, like, I know I'm coming from I probably sound like I'm a little bitchy about this right now, but overall, like, I think their changes in the last 2 patch notes have been really good. You know, I think this one's broken, and I think it needs to be adjusted, and I think it will, because the backlash from it's ridiculous. But the other thing that they said is we know Cyrodiil performance is bad. We're looking into it. We know nothing happens until we address Cyrodiil performance. Now, moving Imperial City to its own campaign is great. You know, don't get me wrong. Like, I think that's a great change. But for those of you guys that play the PvP, you know that Cyrodiil performance is getting worse. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. And they, as far as I know, they haven't posted anything on what they're going to do to improve Cyrodiil performance. I have a quick clip for you guys, because everybody likes to bitch about lag. I could post all the different glitches that I've experienced, but I just wanted to post this one quick clip and show you guys what I'm talking about. This was last week. Me and my buddy were up at Dragonclaw, and we were gonna ride down to Ailswell, which is, you know, a keep's throwaway, because the keep got bursted and we wanted to go defend it. It was in the morning. There was 1 bar of blue, red, and yellow on the map. This is Vivek, not prime time, not 3 bars. You know, I know 3 bars, like, all go to shit in the main campaign. Totally get it. This is 1 bar of each campaign, and this is what happened. This happens more often than you think. So, riding down there, obviously because it's bursted, and so we want to get there quickly. And it hit a load screen. And we hit another load screen. And it's not like I'm riding across the map, guys. Like, this is the travel in between 2 keeps. I can't travel any faster because it's bursted, obviously, so I can't fast travel there. I have to ride there on horseback. And these are the quality, no, the load screen. These are the quality of life changes in PvP that really need to be adjusted. And so at some point, I would love to see a patch notes where all they do is they go in and they look at all the bugs and all the issues, like the load screens. I'm not even in the keep, guys. The keeps are the worst for load screens. Like, if we get there too late and they flip the keep, I'm in another load screen. I'm just traveling in between keeps and I'm hitting load screens. I'd like to see all those bugs addressed. You know, the sprint bug. I'd like to see the loading screen, which I just hit another one. What was this, 4 or 5 now? So I've hit 5 on the way from keep to keep, with 1 bar of each population in the campaign. And, you know, it's not getting any better. Like, I try to hop into Cyrodiil when there's the 6th. I tried to hop into Cyrodiil last week when the campaign flipped and, like, there was a new score. I hit a load screen and it completely kicked me out of the game. And so at some point, they have to live up to their promise on Cyrodiil performance, because it's not getting better. You know, if Cyrodiil performance was where it was a year ago, I wouldn't really have an issue with it, but it's progressively worse, and it makes things a lot worse that they said that they were going to look at it. And now we have their biggest patch change, you know, elsewhere, and they haven't talked about it. They haven't really improved it outside of, you know, less people being in this instance because, you know, Imperial City will not be in Cyrodiil. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that one change will dramatically make things a hell of a lot better, but I would have liked to see more. And these are the things that I'd like to see. I would like to see non-broken mechanics. And I'm really testing out my Wood Elf skills here. I'd like to see non-broken mechanics that have counterplay, with whether it's ultimates or skills or whatever. I'd like to be able to move, and I'd like to not just hit a load screen riding from keep to keep. You know, if that's what the next patch notes are, my cat totally agrees with me. If that's what the next patch notes are, guys, I'm going to be extremely happy. Yep. He's got a lot to say. Anyways, that's what I would like to see with these changes. That's what I'd like to see happen. And, you know, it's a little... Those are my biggest quality of life issues that I have when I play this game. That's what I would like to see. And, you know, wanted to get your guys' thoughts too. Obviously, I ranted at you guys for a while. Wanted to provide some clarification. Hopefully I did. If I didn't, please comment in the section below. Let's have a conversation about it. My cat wants to have a conversation right now too. So yeah, let's have a chat. Let's talk about PvP and why it's AIDS. Let's talk about the patch notes and what you'd like to see. Yeah, that'll be it, guys. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.